that pops up isn't reflective of all that are truly on. It takes a little bit for, there are some numbers that come in afterwards. So just so you know.
Ignore it anyway.
All right, cool. So we are live. However, I'm going to be passing this stuff to all the groups. So if you are in a group, or if you know that you know somebody that's going to be going in a group, I'm going to be passing it here shortly. So no worries, don't fear, all good in the hood. So today is Be More Training, and today we have Shelby Johnson in the house, going to go over her listing presentation that apparently she's been working on for a couple weeks now. So you guys are in for a treat. Shelby, whenever you are ready, jump on into it. The floor is yours.
Oh, that's it. We're ready. We're doing it. Okay, awesome. Well, it's surprise, guys. It's not actually my listing presentation. It is my listing process, which
That's
is
what I meant.
A little different, but you're going to see my presentation is included in it a little bit, but it's going to be so much fucking fun. Sorry, I'm going to try to curse less. It is going to be so much fun. And okay, so that's what we're doing today. My exact listing process, step by step. Real quick on me before I share my screen and get going. If you don't know me, I am an Army veteran for 6 years and then turned into a real estate investor, agent, team leader, all of those things. And I did that really hard, really fast for years. And so much so that if you guys were here with the last time I did Be More training, I hit a wall and I completely burnt out. I got out of production. And I thought about running away from real estate. I thought about quitting. I was like, this fucking sucks. And for a bunch of reasons, which again, watch the other one if you haven't already. But after a couple years off, so that was like August of 2021, and I never fully left the real estate industry. Like I was like, I did some speaking, I did some YouTube. Now I host 2 podcasts, which has been amazing. And it's led to learning so much. But after all of that, my husband and I moved to a brand new city, Lexington, Kentucky. This was a little bit last year. And after months of being here, trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives, we decided to get licensed in Kentucky, where we know no one, and build our business from the ground up, having reflected on and learned so many things from those years of experience, in addition to every conversation I have on these podcasts, myself and Ali Gar said too. If you have not listened to The Agent Goldmine or Real Estate Rockstars, guys, get on it. I mean, completely biased opinion, but I think they're the best ever, of course. But yeah, so what I'm sharing with you today is what I'm actually doing. Like I'm building this out for me to use here in Kentucky. And what I've realized about myself is that I have to get things out of my head and onto paper. And so that is what we're going over today. And before I share, drop a me in the chat if you've ever felt like this. So have you ever gotten a lead and a jolt of nerves just like flushed through your whole body because you weren't 100% sure what to do with it? Drop a me in the chat if you've ever experienced that. Or have you ever gotten a seller to say, yes, I do want to work with you, only for you to be like, oh, wait, now what do I do? Drop a me in the chat if you've ever experienced that. Or this one, have you ever had trouble falling asleep at night because you had the feeling like you were forgetting something and you couldn't think of what? Okay, so that is why today's class exists. That's why what I'm doing behind the scene is happening, because I do not want those things to happen. And they've happened to me before, where I get a lead in my lap and I'm like, oh my God, wait, what do I do? But having your process from start to finish completely committed to paper maybe you'll still have that moment, but then you'll be like, oh, thank God I have it written down. And then you can go and you know exactly what to do every step of the way. Okay. Guys, and that's it. And just so you know, as I share this, again, this is me behind the scenes and I'm still working on it. Like I was working on it this morning. So it is always a work in progress. Let's see. How do I do this? Share screen, share 2 monitors. Probably not that. Okay, I can do this, Ruben. Don't freak out. There it is. I see it. Boom. Okay. Can you guys see this? I can't see you and I can't hear you, so I hope
You're good to go. You're good to go.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is my listing process start to finish, right? And I'm going to make it just slightly bigger so you guys can see it. So the first thing that happens, right, is we're not talking about how you get the leads today. We're talking about the moment the lead plops into your lap, what do you do? And at that point, you're going to call them, right? You're going to reach out to them. And so within that, I have hyperlinked. This is what I've done throughout my whole process. I have my whole process laid out. And then I have anything that is additional, I've hyperlinked it. So that way it's all in one place. And I only need to keep track of one document. But okay, so the lead comes in and here are my seller phone notes, right? And just so you know, this is what you're going to do every single time. This is what I'm going to do every single time that lead pops into my lap. And I'm going to go through these questions with the goal of setting the appointment. And I'm not going to go through this, or because if I went through every single thing that was attached in here, guys, this would be like a 4-hour freaking class. So we're not going to do that. But just know it's attached right there. And the goal is to set the appointment. And then, of course, after you've set the appointment, you're going to update your CRM, the CRM that you use and you love so much. And what I'm going to do after that is after I've, hung up and I've thrown my notes in my CRM, I'm going to send them a little video text being like, hey, so nice meeting you. I can't wait till our appointment on X, Y, and Z date. And here's my contact information so you have all of it. So that's going to be my follow-up procedures. Then I'm going to add the appointment to my calendar. And I'm going to add a morning of text reminder to my calendar. This is where I'm going to be like, hey guys, can't wait to our appointment this afternoon. Looking forward to seeing you. Send. And what I'm not going to do is being like, hey guys, are we still on for this afternoon? Because that gives them an opportunity to say no. There's actually even schools of thought that are like, don't send them a text reminder, just show up. Because when you do send that reminder, it does give them the opportunity to be like, no, I can't make it anymore. Flip side is you don't want to show up at an appointment that they have forgotten about and they're not there. So, but this is my process. So take it, do with what you like. And then what I'm going to do on my calendar is I'm going to time block before the appointment and after the appointment. So I have time to do all of my preparation and all of my follow-on steps, which we're getting into. These in gray right here, I left them in here because I have not decided whether or not I want to actually do it. But Jason Boyce, who's a fucking badass, guys, he was the Powerhouse Pillar of the Year last year. He closed 40 something, a second-year agent. But this is what he does also. So after he set the appointment, he sends an email that says, hey, basically what I'm texting them. And it also includes his resume. So as you guys can see, I have hyperlinked the crap out of this document. And I'm going to go back to that later and see whether or not I actually want to do it. So at this point, cool. The lead came in. I nailed it. I set the appointment. I've done all my little follow-ups. I blocked my calendar. Now I'm ready. The day has come on my calendar for me to prep for this appointment. Also, one more note, guys, when you are setting the appointment, try to set it as near as possible because the farther out in the future gives them more time and distance from your conversation and increases the likelihood of them canceling. So just want to keep it condensed in there. Okay. But now that my calendar time block has popped up, it's time for me to prep for this appointment. What am I going to do? Okay. I'm going to prep myself. And for that, for me in particular, I love a clipboard. I'm going to use my clipboard and I am going to print out my appointment checklist, the previous MLS cut sheet, my realist report, PVA, tax record sheet, whatever you call it in your state. It's called different things, but basically it's like the tax record sheet. And I'm also going to print out a detailed walkthrough checklist, a copy of the seller homework, and that is what is going to go on my clipboard. And we'll go over these things in just a second. I'm also going to bring like a go bag. So like it's going to bring, it's not a fucking purse. It's like a computer bag. I'm also going to put some snacks because we'll talk about this in a little bit. Some snacks for the sellers if they need it. And then blue painter's tape and a pen for me plus 2 colored highlighters. All of these things I'm prepping and I have it ready to go for my appointment. I'm also going to prep a listing packet for the seller. And what is included in this is my folder with my business card inserted that's branded, 5 Pillars Team, eXp Realty. And I'm going to have my listing presentation. I'm going to have my analysis ready. At this point in time, I'm going to do that piece on my computer. And then I'm also going to have a seller's net sheet, which you guys can see this is gray because I'm contemplating using Palm Agent, which is something that Jason Boyce and Ali Garced both use. And I also have scripts locked into this. So that way I can rehearse ahead of time. See how all of my tools are right here. And I'm going to have my listing agreement printed and pre-filled as much as possible. I'm also in preparation going to if I have time, this is bonus, right? If I have time, I'm going to walk through comparable active listings. So I know what's active on the market, how they priced it, how many days on market, why they might not already be under contract. And again, bonus, if I have time, I'm going to contact the listing agents with comparable pending properties. And I'm going to ask them, they might not tell me, but they might, which in the past they freaking have. You just have to be nice and kind of like, schmooze a little bit. But ask them, dude, what price did your property pen for? Because you don't know what it actually pended for, right? And then, has the appraisal already happened? Like, did it meet value? And how many offers did you have? Okay, awesome. Your house is actually really, really similar to the property I'm about to list. By any chance, could you share the names of those agents who submitted offers? Because I would love to reach out and see if their buyers are still looking in this neighborhood and maybe my house is the right fit for them. So those are all things that you can do ahead of time to like really, be on your game. And then also, of course, stalking the sellers. So that stalking the sellers ahead of time on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you can find them, get a feel for, if they have like, lots of biblical references or very wholesome content, you're probably not going to run in cursing like crazy and like having ratchet jokes. You can kind of like shape your presentation and the image which you portray ahead of time to be spot on if you do a little bit of research up front. Okay. So that is how you prep for the appointment. And real quick, I'm going to go over what is all these hyperlinked things because you're like, what's in there, right? So the appointment checklist, the one that I printed for myself, this is, hold on. Thought I was going to sneeze. False alarm. No one worry. Okay. So this is my appointment checklist, right? This is so I go through and I make sure that I'm not missing anything as I show up at my appointment. So the first thing when you show up at the appointment, you're going to be like, oh my God, can I have a tour? And then I want to take some pictures specifically of things that I might recommend for updates later or things I'm concerned about, things I need to follow up on. Also, you're building rapport. You're asking them like, oh, what are some known issues? What are you loving about this home? What are you not loving? And then you see like the fancy chandelier and you're like, ooh, is that going with you when you move? Or is that going to go to the buyer? Same thing with like any fancy mirrors and the appliances because you're collecting information, right? Then you are going to sit down, you're going to crush your listing appointment. But on my appointment checklist, I have these notes to specifically ask them up front and a reminder to try to identify their disc. Which this is a class for another day. Basically, the point of the disc, though, is that you're trying to understand what type of personality they are so you can gear and shape your presentation to best fit their needs, right? And then you're going to gauge or reconfirm what's important to them. You're going to give them the listing packet that you brought, do the listing presentation, the analysis, seller's net sheet, listing agreement. And then at that point, you just crushed it. They're like, yes, I absolutely want to list with you. Awesome. They signed the agreement. Then you're going to go over what's next, okay, I'll go over it right now. Trying to see how much, where I put things. So at that point, you crush your listing appointment. They're signing with you. You're like, okay, at this point in time, we move into preparation phase. And so what that means is we got to get your home absolutely prepped, beautiful, and ready. And we have to get the back end stuff. So the details, paperwork, disclosures, all of that fun stuff ready. And so depending, you're going to feel it out with them. If they are like high energy, you can tell they still got, it in them. You can be like, would you like to go over this right now? And if they're like, yes, let's do it. Then you proceed into this next phase, which I'll talk about. But if you are looking at them and they are starting to glaze over, the energy is low, they're tapping their fingers, they're antsy. At that point, you say, okay, that's all we have for today. As soon, the next piece will be what I just said, prepping the home in the back end. And for that, we'll need a scheduled appointment where I will come back over and we'll start that phase. And that should happen as quickly as possible. So can we open your calendars real quick and let's lock in a date for me to come back? And so you're using I prefer to do it right there on the spot because I don't want to have to come back. But it's not about you. It's about whether or not they are ready for the next phase of that information. So if they say, yes, I'm ready, let's freaking go, let's do this right now, that's when you are going to do your detailed walkthrough and you're going to lead them through the seller's homework. I'll get into that. And then you're also, of course, going to ask, okay, well, who do you know that's considering selling or that could benefit from a meeting just like this? Questions. Okay. So that is your listing appointment checklist. And I also, guys, in here, I have my listing presentation all hyperlinked, which I have been working on for a freaking long ass time. And let me just tell you, it is beautiful. I am super biased, but it's beautiful. And I will share anything that I have with you guys if you do want copies of all the things. So just let me know. But okay, so I have my listing presentation, my script. We just went over that. Okay, we are now at the point where we're ready to prep our home, right? The home and the back end plan, because we just crushed our listing appointment. So at this point in time, you are going to do a detailed walkthrough, and you're going to do this without them. You're going to say, okay, guys, I'm here. I need to do a detailed walkthrough of your home. I'm going to go really slow. So you guys do, go and read this through the seller homework packet right here for you. And when I'm done with the detailed walkthrough, I'm going to come back through and walk through with you so we can discuss everything. And then we can sit down and talk about the seller homework. Sound good? Awesome. So what the detailed walkthrough is, this is, again, you're just doing this by yourself with you and your clipboard. You are starting in the exterior and you are using this as a checklist to go through of what they need to do prior to photos happening. Because guys, so much is just lost within the preparation phase if you don't take the time and really go slowly and make sure that the home is like fucking top shape. You never have a second chance to make a first impression, right? Okay, so what I did, this is again for me. I went through and I thought through all of the normal things that need to be done when you walk through a house. And I stole this from Jason Boyce. He had a few things. I wrote a lot more because my memory not that good. And so I wanted to think through up front so I can just go through and make little checks on this as to what they need to do or not do. I also left lines at the bottom so I could write in anything additional specific to their property. And I have this from the exterior, the garage, the entryway. Guys, I did this for every single part of the house. And it's very detailed with what normally needs to be done. So that way, by the end of it, this checklist is everything that needs to be done for the property. Okay, so that's every room. But at the bottom, just so you know, I have this other section. And with this is other things that are not normally like a clean or easy fix. Like sometimes someone might want a contractor or a professional service provider to come in. So these are, hypothetically switching out the cabinet hardware, light fixtures, updates, door handles, hinges, locks, fresh paint, replacing the carpet, steam cleaning the carpet. So these are all things, again, I'm just going to be checking my recommendations and writing notes. I also have, do we want to do light staging? Do we want to have full staging? Do we, you know what I mean? So the other thing that I left on here for myself is if on this last page, I have the 2024 style guides from one of my friends who's like really into style and he flips a lot of homes. So he sent me this stuff. So if you're walking, afterwards, you have this whole list and they're like, okay, I'll paint, but like what color? I don't even know what to do. Luckily, I have all of it right here from someone who's way more stylish than me. Okay, cool. Now that I have gone through, I've done this detailed walkthrough. What is next is I have my blue painter's tape that I brought with me in the beginning. And actually real quick. So remember how I brought snacks? So the snacks are if at that moment where I'm like, how are you guys feeling? Do you want to do more? Do you not? If they're like, we're okay. But when I'm like, do you need a fucking Snickers bar? So that's like my vision. I've never actually brought the snacks. I'm going to do it though. I know if Mark Horton is listening right now, he's absolutely making fun of me, but I don't care. I think it's cute and I think it's fun and it's my business and not his stuff. Anyway, but okay, the other thing that I brought ahead of time is the blue painter's tape and the 2 highlighters, right? So when I now have my blue painter's tape and I have my highlighters and I'm going back through with the sellers at this point. And I'm like, okay, from the outside, this is what I recommend. what do you guys think you can handle and what do you want to outsource? And so yellow or pink, whatever color they want, that's going to be them. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to check what's them. And then whatever they're like, oh, I really want to outsource this, or I really, I need someone else to do this. That's when I use the other highlighter and highlight, because that's a note to me. Now I know what the seller's responsible for doing and when I need to go back and potentially coordinate quotes or vendors to go out for. So I would ask, does that make sense? But I can't hear or any of you. Just talking to myself. So anyway, so that is what we've done with the detailed walkthrough. And by the end of that, the blue painter's tape is if we want to mark anything. So as you're going through, maybe it says like, paint, but you need to like mark like a spot. Maybe there's like a spot. So you can just use your blue painter's tape to mark that up. It's just an extra. You don't have to. I want to be super extra. It's so fun. Okay. So that is my detailed walkthrough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that with them, but I'm going to take photos of those documents for me. So I can go back and I have my notes on exactly who's doing what. Okay. Now at this point, I'm like, yes, now we get to go over the super fun part, seller homework. And this is something that I'm not 100% done with yet. I'm still editing it, but yeah, I don't even know if I'll show you. So basically what is in it is information from the seller that I'll need for completing disclosure documents, not the actual disclosures, but literally prepping the documents and prepping the MLS. It'll also have property details. So you guys know that when you actually are in the MLS, there's like freaking a million different options for like heat source and, type, like all these little details. And so that's a part of the seller's homework where they go through and mark what is the details of their home. So we can go in and input it into the MLS correctly. Also, part of the seller homework is buyer frequently asked questions. And so what this looks like, maybe I'll have that one ready. Okay, sure. There's some. So buyer frequently asked questions would be like, do you have a termite contract? Like, is it transferable? How much does it cost? What company is it through? Things like utility costs. I'm going to close out of this. How much who are your utility providers? How much is your monthly utility cost? These are all of the things that buyers love to know up front. And if we can consolidate that information on the front end and be able to even upload it into the MLS, or after showings, have an automation set up where it's like, or before showings, they book a showing and it's like, hey, here's additional information on the property. Please share with your client. Those are all little ways that we can stand out, be above and beyond, and like get in front of the normal questions that really eat up your time, like back and forth, questions answered, blah, 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 all that stuff. So also in that seller homework is there's going to be an overview of the disclosures. Okay. Yeah. So an overview of the disclosures that are going to come. I'm also going to tell them that this is your physical packet and you're more than welcome to fill everything out on the physical copy and then take pictures and send it to us. But if you are a digital person and you prefer it that way, we also have digital copies of all of this that we can send you. So that's the preparation. And so after we've done that, the home prep and the back end prep, then I'll say, okay, here's what's next. Within 24 hours, I will send you an email roll-up. And I'm going to include my closing coordinator on the email. By the way, I used to be a listing coordinator and a transaction coordinator, but who I found in Kentucky, she does both. It's the same person. So I'm changing her title to closing coordinator. And so by this point, after the listing presentation, and I've talked about my team a little bit, they already know that it's not just me. I have an admin team support and they're freaking awesome. You're going to love them. So I'm going to include my closing coordinator on that email. What that email will include is a copy of like an outline of everything that is on your to-do list, plus the deadlines, timelines associated, everything that's on our to-do list, plus the timelines associated, and our schedule at a glance, which again, we've already gone through this in the listing presentation, but what this looks like to Mr. Seller is that we go live on a Thursday, June, whatever. That's our live date. And our coming soon is 1 week before that. And our photos and videos are 1 week before coming soon. So that means that every single thing on that home prep list has to be beautiful, perfect, ready to go by that photo video date. And then on the flip side, after we go live, our open house will be Saturday and Sunday following when we go live. And I said Saturday and Sunday. I haven't 100% decided. I think we might just do it Saturday, but that is TBD. And if you're really invested and you want to know, I can freaking let you know. Okay. Did I hit all of the things? Maybe. Yes. Okay. So that is our roll up. And then after that point, it is time to do a handover for my closing coordinator. So guys, just a note, if you are using admin, like listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, the agent's responsibility is to make decisions. The admin's responsibility is to execute those decisions. And so that's why the whole part before that is like making the decisions on what we want to have fixed up pre-market, the list price, what our marketing strategy, all of that stuff is. That's the decisions. And then now that we have it all laid out, boom, I'm not freaking coordinating shit. Like I'm not doing it. So, calling vendors and booking, I'm not doing it. So with that, we're going to do a handover to our closing coordinator. I am going to create my listing template, my loop, which we use .loop because it's provided with our MLS here. I know some people use SkySlope, whatever. You're creating your file. And then what I do is that I have a handover sheet because I do not like to be asked questions. I don't want to be pinged with questions. I would rather just take the time up front and give all of the information that I think they need and hand it over so then I don't have to worry and think about it anymore. So this is just an example of that handover sheet. It has all of the information that the closing coordinator will need to execute my file without asking me. Yay. Okay. And I've done my handover sheet. I have uploaded my tax records and previous MLS cut sheet. This is kind of extra. You need to talk to your admin to figure out where their left and right limits are. Yep. And then I'm going to upload a copy of that detailed walkthrough and notify my closing coordinator in Slack that the file is ready for them. Yay. Then the closing coordinator will jump in and introduce themselves and assume responsibility for all the things that I laid out in that email. Collecting this homework, sticking to timelines, scheduling, coordinating, keeping everyone up to date on the schedule, MLS input, prep, etc. Now, the next time that I jump in, big day, is photo day. But before photo day happens, we're going to prep for it because we're big preppers, right? So what happens on photo day for Drake and I in our process here is that, of course, we're going to have a professional photographer and videographer come in, measurements, all of those things, which I outlined here, which we're going to try to do photos at dusk, golden hour. Man, I'm like dying here today. Okay. But the other thing that we're doing is Drake and I are also going to be there. So that way we can do our social media video. Because most of the time when you're hiring a professional photographer or videographer, they're doing these like slow, kind of boring. I mean, very pretty. The seller is impressed, but possibly they're the only one who is. Those like vertical would look really good on YouTube type of videos. But we are really interested in running ads, which we'll get into in a second. But we want to run ads on Facebook and Instagram, which means we need a vertical video because that is what is going to look best on our social media. So before the photo day, we're going to prep for our social media video. We're going to think through our script, and I've hyperlinked this guy who does really freaking fun and amazing like walkthrough videos. So that way he's going to be my inspiration. And the other things that we're going to prepare for that day is we're going to have our wireless mic set, which I hyperlinked all of these. If you want to know like exactly what my gear is, I literally hyperlinked everything that I use. But you're going to have your mic set, your iPhone's going to be charged, you have a tripod, you have a gimbal. So you're all ready to do, you have your script, you have all of the pieces that you need for this video. And then I'm also going to print my showing guide for the seller. And I am getting my shoe booties and my little shoe booty sign. I'm going to get my QR code, sign it with additional information printed. This is all ready. I'm also going to bring my lockbox and my listing sign and mallet. These are all things that I'm preparing for. So that way, when I go over to photo day, I have everything that I freaking need. Okay. And then I'm going to show up at photo day and I'm going to actually arrive an hour early. And this, by the way, my closing coordinator has let me know, hey, we're scheduled for this date and this time. The seller has completed all of their prep items. We are good to go. I'm like, awesome. So she's added it to my calendar. I'm going to time block an hour prior, and she's going to let the seller know, hey, just so you know, Shelby's going to show up an hour prior just to verify the home is ready, everything is good to go, and going to go over some more information with you on what to expect about showings and the way ahead. They're going to be like, great, so glad to see her. At least they better say that. So anyway, I'm going to show up and I'm going to verify that the home is ready, make sure that, you know, they've completed all their checklists. If they haven't by this time, like, I am going to be pissed because the coordinator is already supposed to have checked, you know, whatever. The photographer is supposed to be on the way. But verify the home is ready. All the lights are on. Curtains are open. No cars in the garage or driveway. Like, we are ready to rock and roll. Then I'm going to sit down with the sellers and go over the showing guide. I have this highlighted because I haven't finished it yet. That's okay. But what the showing guide is going to be is I'm going to explain, like, okay, this is how showings are scheduled. And they've already in the seller homework, they've already annotated their approval process if they need a 2-hour window, etc. But I'm going to explain that. I'm going to remind them of that process. And then I'm going to explain, hey, like, people aren't just coming into your house. It's supervised by a licensed agent, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about how long the showings normally last, and most importantly, how to prep for the showing. So by this point, the home is already beautiful in theory, but we need to make sure it stays that way. And it's like, if the home is vacant, easy, great. But if it's not, man, they cooked some Indian food last night, or the dude just blew up the bathroom. Like, we got to account for those things. Also, getting ready keys for access to, oh, I wonder what's in this shed in the backyard, or maybe not. Maybe you don't have that, but it depends on if it's vacant, empty, whatever. Put away any valuables, no cars in the driveway. We already talked about that. Plan for kids, pets. Reminder that they're not allowed to be there, that they have to leave. And then what happens after showings, AKA we will get feedback. If, you know, we'll hound the agent for feedback and provide that as we do have it. And then also, Mr. Seller, I brought some goodies for you. Here's like a little basket of booties. So that way, when people come in, they're not going to get their nasty shoes all over that carpet that you just paid $500 to steam clean. And then also we have this QR code that just goes right here on the kitchen counter with the little sign that says want additional information, and it will bring them to your disclosures and those frequently asked questions that the buyers normally ask. Okay. And just a reminder, Mr. Seller, here is what's next. So we just took photos, which means a week from now, we're going to go coming soon. Then we're going to go live a week following with the open house the Saturday after following. And that's our timeline. And now, Mr. Seller, the photos are going to happen. I'm going to look crazy shooting a vertical social media video. So please don't watch me do that. I haven't done this yet. And so I'm like, shit, man, I have to get back in front of camera. What? Okay. And then before I leave, I'm going to make sure to put the lockbox on the door, the listing sign in the yard, and take a picture, share it on my story, you know, share the journey. And cool. At that point, the other thing, I think I said it before, but with the listing sign, as a part of your checklist, you're bringing, a mallet and also like a towel or Windex if that thing is nasty. Cool. Moving right along. So now we've done photo day. The next step is coming soon. And this is ideally already on the MLS, like full photos, full videos if possible, you know, the complete MLS details. And as soon as we go coming soon, that's also when we're going to run an ad to that vertical social media video that we did. And the video, what it's going to be like, it's that home walkthrough, and it's going to prompt register for our mega open house. And the mega open house is going to be like a super, super fun, amazing ordeal that everyone's going to want to go to, which is one of the reasons why we're hyping it. And I'll get into the mega open house here in just a second. But with that, it's like, hey, register for our mega open house. Also, I need to talk to Drake about this. I hope he supports this idea. But register for our mega open house. And then they're going to go to a landing page. They're going to register. It's going to prompt them, want to invite a friend. And then from there, they'll add their friend's contact information if possible, if they want to. And then we're going to have automation reminders built into our CRM to remind them about the open house. We're also going to do circle prospecting, text invites to our social media video, that same video that is going to, again, prompt them to register for the mega open house and capture information and remind. We're also going to systematically post this video on local Facebook groups, which are real estate events and local events. real estate pages and local events. Yeah, and all of these things are hyperlinked, which maybe we'll have time, we'll go back. I also included in here what I will eventually have a virtual assistant do. In the beginning, Drake is going to be the one who's doing the landing page and all of the setup, but eventually that is something that we'll definitely outsource, along with the editing, prepping of the caption, posting, systematic Facebook posts, etc. So we are massively pushing targeted ads to people who we know are actively looking to buy or interested in real estate within the radius of this property. So the technical nerdy backend stuff, contact Drake, and he will, help you with all of that. I'm trying to think of, Drake at fivepillarsnation.com. He's actually like, Shelby, don't do that. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that. Just ask me and I'll ask him. Okay. So that is that. So we've done that now for a week and we're going live on a Thursday. Woo! Even after we go live, we are blocking our showings until the open house because we want this open house to be a mega open house, to be like the most ridiculous, badass thing ever. How are we going to do that? Well, we are going to have the Saturday following going live from 12 to 2 tentatively. We want the sellers to be gone all day, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on that Saturday. And we are going to prep by coordinating with a food truck or get catering. So we like the food truck idea because it's like more fun and like, oh my God, they're having a food truck. Wow, it's so fun. Also, tentatively having a professional photographer and, happy to take family photos because we want more and more reasons for people to come to this and tell their friends and everyone come, like a huge event, right? We're also going to coordinate with the HOA up front and ask if we can add the event to their Facebook page. We're going to give the neighbors a head up and invite them, put the open house signs on every major street intersection, 10x, like 10 times more than we think we need 3 days prior. And we're going to prep for the open house well in advance. We're not going to wait till the day of. What we're going to do is we're going to get helium balloons for the mailbox. We're going to get, and maybe not mailbox, we'll see, but tape, string, air fresheners for breeze, speaker, music, playlist. We also want to do one of those, like, we don't have this yet, but one of those like branded pop-ups. It's going to be so cool. You know what I'm talking about? So fun. A sign-in method, because people are going to come for the food, the photos, and our giveaway, but they cannot get food until they have come and gotten a raffle ticket, and they can't get a raffle ticket until they've signed in. So we're going to get their contact information with a verification. There's a way now you can do like a two-step verification on the spot. So we're going to try to do that to make sure they give us good information. And raffle tickets, just like very, very simple mass pack from like Amazon. And a prize, which hopefully will be a branded Yeti cooler. I know you guys are like, this is really adding up. It is, which is Drake is going to talk to me about this afterwards. This is just my dream list. We might not do every single one of these things every single time, but once we are mega rich and crushing it here, then I think we will. Also having like a popcorn machine for thanks for popping by. Like, look at how cute this thing is. Love it. Very excited. And then the morning of, we are obviously going to rehearse, set up, execute, share, Instagram, Facebook stories, high energy, post event, tear down, clean up, then follow up all the attendees, quick video. Dude, thanks so much for coming. I freaking love you came to our mega open house. Hope you had a blast. Just so you know, the winner of the whatever was this person. We may or may not include that in the thanks for coming video, but we're going to let people know who won. And we're also going to share the professional videos. We're going to ask, who do you know who's looking to sell and wants a mega open house? Stay in touch with our next adventure on social media. And then we get to add to our email list. Very exciting. Then send a roll up to the sellers, the recap number of people came through, and hopefully the massive amount of offers they got. That's the plan, right? And then I don't know. I actually originally planned to stop after this, but I'll go through just a couple more things and that's it. It's really short from this point forward. So offers come in, highest and best. Don't accept before your highest and best deadline. Get them all in. Always collect, organize, and provide a recommendation to the seller with updated seller net sheet information. Don't just fucking forward emails to them. Like, you are consolidating, you're organizing, you're thinking and presenting recommendations and reasoning behind that. Yeah. And then actually, I don't know if I'm going to do the rest. If at this point, I'm going to stop. If you want me to keep going, you can let me know. But otherwise, I am open for questions. Does anyone have questions at this point in time? Is there a chat I can see? Has anyone been chatting? Oh.
Yeah.
Oops.
Hold on. Sorry. They've been just like giving, super like, yeah, that was really cool. Or I would do that, or great job. That's what I would do. No questions so far. But of course, if anybody who is watching, if you do got a question, please ask now, obviously, because it's live and she can be able to answer it right now. Well, I guess this would be a good time just to go ahead and throw it out there. If they do have any questions after, because I'm sure there will be a lot of people who watch the recording, who do they reach out to, Shelby?
Me. Reach out to me. Wow, I can hear my echo. I'm so loud. The Shelby Show on Instagram is the best place to reach out with me. You can also do Shelby at 5pillarsnation.com. Either one. I would love to chat with you.
Perfect. Can you still hear your echo?
Test. Yes.
Shit. Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I also started looking at a few documents that I had as well for the listing side that I did a few years ago. I can send you some of the stuff that I have too. Do you have anywhere to where you start to ask for referrals? Essentially, I know that you said, hey, who else would want to do the open house? Or even while you're even at the listing appointment, hey, who else would be interested in something like that? Do you have any other points that you start asking for business, or how soon or how much later do you start asking for referrals?
Not built into this process, but I'm sure you do, Ruben. What is your recommendation?
Oh, no. Well, yes, but it's at the listing appointment. We're already asking. We like to ask every time there's a win, right? Because people are happy. So anytime there's an appraisal process and the appraisal came back good, we're asking for a referral. If there's a home inspection and it came back good, we're asking for a referral. And then, of course, closing and all the other fun stuff as soon as we go under contract as well. And it was a good one. It wasn't too bad. We're asking for a referral. I was just asking that because as I was looking through this, I saw that pop up and I was like, ooh, wonder if that's something she threw in there and where, so we can learn from that too. So I figured I would ask.
Dope.
We also have another question. Let's see. I own 2 properties, one in Tennessee and one in Illinois, looking to buy a third, thinking of renting instead of selling. That's not a question. But thanks, Jacob. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Here we go. But just wanted to understand the listing process. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that might be it. Again, I think a lot of people will come back and watch the recording as well, and I'll send you the recording. Any last things, anything else that you want to throw at anybody before we let you go?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. So like she said, if you do have any questions, concerns, comments, anything that you want to throw her way, just reach out to her at The Shelby Show on Instagram. She is obviously quick to respond there. If there's any questions for me, just reach out to Proven by Ruben on Instagram as well. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you do, like I said, have any questions, but till then, reach out. We're here to help. Thank you so much, Shelby, for jumping on the Be More training, and I'll send you the recording later.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.